very pleased to have on the line with me Woody Taft. He's the vice president of Taft Broadcasting out of Ohio. He's the descendant of President Taft, cousin of the former governor of Ohio, Bob Taft, who is on the opposite side of legalizing pot. His website is yeson3ohio.com. Woody Taft, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me, Tom.
Thanks for joining us. So, you are an heir to a storied Republican family in the state of Ohio and nationwide. I mean, Taft was president of the whole United States, and you are stepping out, taking a position here on the legalization of pot. Do I have that right?
That is exactly correct. I also have an economic interest in legalization if it happens here on November 3rd.
In other words, you want to get into the business?
Yes, and that to get right to it, Tom, that's what's controversial about this plan. Although it would create 1,100 retail licenses, a number of manufacturing licenses for the sale of recreational marijuana, it limits the number of growers to 10, and the 10 groups that are funding the $25 million for this campaign will each own one of those grow sites.
Well, that's interesting. So you're basically competing for an opportunity to have a sort of a monopoly. Why do it that way rather than just why limit the number of growers?
Well, there are two reasons we're doing it the way we're doing it. We wanted to limit the number of growers because of what we saw in Colorado. There are now well more than 1,000 grows in Colorado, and a lot of what's grown there, whether it goes through the medical marijuana channel, which is full of loopholes, or whether it goes out the back door, it's still hitting the black market. We see a lot of industrially trimmed marijuana here in Ohio that we suspect are coming from states like Colorado. But the reason we're doing it the way we're doing it is because the Ohio legislature, despite 84% of Ohioans being in favor of medical marijuana and 52% in favor of recreational marijuana, and a bill introduced in the House for medical marijuana each year, for the past 5 years, the legislature simply won't touch it. So we had to go to the people by vote, and in order to do that, we had to raise money, and the only way to raise money was to give the funders some economic benefit.
Right, so basically, in order to make this happen, it's going to take money to take on basically your own party, and to do that, you had to get the money, you had to get basically investors. You're presumably one of those investors. That it makes sense to me. A, what's John Kasich say about this? And B, how is it going here with the yeson3ohio.com effort?
Well, I don't know if you watched the debate last night, but Kasich rather deftly avoided what I saw as the only marijuana question of the night coming out of Boulder. He simply said it's not for children and then moved on. We have an interesting situation in Ohio. Although the polls are running at about 59% in favor, when we poll the actual ballot language, it gets very close to 50-50. The reason being is that the ballot board here in Ohio gave very confusing, very lengthy ballot language, and the Secretary of State had the gall to call this a monopoly. Now, I grant you a limited number of growers. You could possibly call it an oligopoly, but it's not a monopoly, and he titled it a monopoly on the ballot. That and a number of other shenanigans we experienced in the signature validation process for our petition leads us to believe that the Ohio state government is really trying to kill us with 1,000 cuts.
Yeah. I find it fascinating that basically what we're seeing here is capitalism, or capitalists in this case. I mean, if you're investing in this, you are a capitalist as opposed to just an entrepreneur. Capitalism moving government in a way that comports with the desire of the vast majority of the people. I mean, it's pretty incredible.
If you truly believe that legalizing both medical and recreational marijuana is good public policy, then the private citizens that, like myself, who've gotten together to fund this, I think we're doing a really extraordinarily good thing. But if you don't believe that, then we look like callous profiteers or, at best, loopy stoners.
Yeah, and I doubt you're either one. And the evidence continues to grow that not only is medical marijuana therapeutic for a startling array of conditions, but that recreational pot users actually live longer, have better cognitive function. I mean, all these myths that we used to hear that if you smoke pot for 30 years, your brain would be dead. Turns out you smoke pot for 30 years, your brain actually works better than somebody who didn't, because it has a neuroprotective effect, oddly enough.
And you should see some of the statistics coming out of Colorado. And these are Colorado State Bureau statistics. This is from the Bureau of Transportation. Fatal car crashes on highways since legalization are down 6%. Arrests in the state of Colorado are down 10%. Those include a lot of what would have been former arrests for marijuana, but there was a significant decrease in violent crime arrests, including murder and rape. And on top of that, heroin overdose deaths in all the states that have legalized recreational are down 25%. There's a real public good here.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely. So what can people do who want to support your effort, Woody? We're talking with Woody Taft, who the VP of Taft Broadcasting, descendant of President Taft, cousin of former governor of Ohio, Bob Taft. And the website is YesOn3Ohio, YesOn3Ohio.com. What can people do who want to support your efforts?
Well, we have another wrinkle here in Ohio. The legislature put on the ballot something they're calling Issue 2, which would outlaw the creation of a quote-unquote monopoly or oligopoly like our structure from being codified into the state constitution. So we really need people to vote no on 2 and yes on 3 in order to legalize marijuana in Ohio. And let me tell you, if we don't legalize marijuana now, Issue 2, the anti-monopoly amendment, will make sure that we never, ever do.
Is it a constitutional amendment?
It is. And it would put it in the Constitution. It would leave it up to the ballot board to determine what is a monopoly. And I'll go further to say the Supreme Court here in Ohio ruled our structure a monopoly, yet there are no other state or federal definitions that would put our structure into the bucket of a monopoly, oligopoly, or even cartel.
You're a Republican. Why do you think your party is so opposed to this when the majority of Americans are in favor of it?
I think politicians generally view this as a lose-lose proposition because marijuana does not fall neatly across political lines or religious lines, race lines, what have you. People from all walks of life to a certain extent smoke marijuana, and people from all walks of life to a certain extent are opposed to marijuana. So any politician taking a stand is going to alienate part of their base.
Wow. Yeah, I think you may well be right. Although it seems like, Bernie Sanders yesterday came out, the day before, saying that at the federal level we should, eliminate all the restrictions on marijuana and just leave this up to the individual states. So I think that there is some awakening going on, at least on the Democratic side.
That's the way we're heading. And after the 2016 election, there should be 30 states that have some form of medical marijuana legalized. And the Obama administration, at least, has said that they will address all the financial and the regulatory issues when we have a majority of the states legalizing marijuana.
Yeah, amazing stuff. Woody Taft is the vice president of Taft Broadcasting. He's a descendant of President Taft and a cousin to the former governor, Bob Taft of Ohio. The website is YesOn3Ohio, number 3, YesOn3Ohio.com if you want to check it out. And Woody, I wish you the very best in what you're doing.
Tom, thank you so much for having me on.
It's got to be a hell of a pull, quite a lift here that you're taking on, and good luck.
We'll see how it goes on Tuesday.
Indeed. Oh, the election is next week?
This Tuesday, yes.
Holy cow, I missed that somehow. Totally. Okay, so if you're in Ohio, don't forget. There's an election on Tuesday. No on 2, yes on 3. Thank you, Woody.
No on 2, yes on 3.
Got it. Thanks, Woody. Good talking to you.
Thank you, Tom.
We'll be back.